Good morning, this is Carrie. You're in zone 5B. You are not in my front garden. You're in my front mess. It is a pretty, it's a pretty rough front lawn that we tried to reseed. We're gonna try to seed it again this afternoon and see if we can get a little bit more coverage going. But in the meantime, let me show you what's blooming. These are bee's knees petunias. They're not a Supertunia's brand, but they are quite pretty, and they do continue to push blooms. They're kind of a yellow color. I saw them at Lowe's and thought they looked like fun. We have gladiolus coming in here. Only a few of these are ones that I popped in the ground this year. These are all coming up from last year, and in the back I had major thrips infestation and I had to pull and toss all the gladiolus that came up early. But these here, I have sprayed them judiciously to avoid pollinators as best as I could, since that's more important than gladiolus flowers, is keeping my bees. These are little mucopines that have suffered. They're actually not doing too well in these pots, but they're still alive. This one seems to be a bit better than that one. I'm not sure whether I am overwatering, underwatering, what the deal is, but anyways, we've got some little dianthus here. These are Supertunia Latte, which I've just liked from the photos for quite a while, and I'm really glad that I got them. They're certainly not as prolific as the Supertunia bubblegums in the backyard, but they're quite pretty. We go more like the gladiolus. Yeah, I think what really helped from the thrips infestation last year was these guys just wintered over. There's actually a spike coming out over here of flowers. Look at that. And the cold killed off the thrips from them, so that they're just looking quite nice. You can tell where I had just pulled them completely from the ground, right? Versus left some in. I pulled that one completely from the ground. Here we've got where I pulled them completely from the ground, and it was very nice to just get the control on the grasshoppers more this year, which you will be able to see some areas where, like right here, where grasshoppers started going to town on them. But they're doing all right. These ones are also staying much more upright than the acidanthus. I need to figure out how to say that exactly. A couple of those are coming up right here. What I found for these different species of gladiolus is that, especially in the backyard, they are like bending and flopping halfway down. So just a different strength of leaf. Here we've got 3 coming up in this pot just because I've gotten a little creative with it. That's a celosia. That I had gotten a pot of celosia that had 3 plants, one yellow, which was this one orange, which is doing, I would say, the poorest of the 3, and one red. And the red definitely seems to be the most robust of all of them. We've got a few, I'll walk us, you know what, before we go there, let me walk you over to these. These are just plain old petunias that I got from Lowe's. They're doing quite nicely, actually. They were little singles in pots for a couple of bucks that Lowe's was giving away that day. And yeah, and look at this. Like they're not Supertunias. I do need to pinch them back, like so. And they're due a little pinch back, but they are just doing really pretty. And I had thrown a couple of little extra flower seeds in here at one point, and as you can see, one of them is coming up. I think this is probably a zinnia. We'll find out for sure. But yeah, look at that. They've just filled the little pots here. They're doing beautifully. I'm thinking I might move these pots over to this blank area, which used to be tulips. You can see I've actually marked with these popsicle sticks where I have space to add more tulips, that to not interfere with last year's planting. And we're going to just see whether the tulips from the prior year are coming up, and if they do, how they do. So very curious to see that. All right, this yard has been like as we've planted things and little bits of grass have come up, but what's come up strongly and I'm pulling every day many times is this. These are little, they are an amaranth relative, and they just sprout like nuts. Here you can see a bunch of seedlings, mostly zinnias. I popped in a few coleus. I put in a couple of, there's like some snapdragon where you can sort of see that there's pink coming up. There's a dianthus over there, another coleus. There's, this one might be, I think this one's a lantana. And that one is hopefully going to take. And then we've got just a few more zinnia seedlings that were popped in here. Another coleus. These are getting quite a bit of water, but you know, just a little strangely for me, the coleus in particular are just really not, they're not taken off. Last year when I had coleus, they just went nuts. They were awesome. And this year they're not quite, but we'll see what's happening. The dogwood is doing great. It's a monster. I'm gonna have to pull this one back and thin it. These are, I believe, Little Devil 9-barks. I truly hate them. I wish I didn't, but I do. And then these are some lilies that came back up from last year, and then from where I had also scaled them and just tossed scales in the ground. You can see I've got new plants. These are all going to be the bright orange that my husband loves. So we'll just keep an eye on it. Thank you for joining me. So let's end on a pretty close up. There we go.